So where my YouTube story really begins in 2011, it really begins at the beginning when I was about 2 or 3 years old. That was when I was starting to get exposed to things like Sesame Street, The Muppet Show, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Reading Rainbow, and even when I was starting to get into the age of 3 and 4, I was privileged to be introduced to things like Looney Tunes, Disney movies, even the 1966 Adam West Batman show. Superheroes were also such a big part of my childhood. My mother would always buy me the old action figures of the DC superheroes and Spider-Man and Captain America and all that stuff, and being born in the early 80s and really a kid in the 80s and 90s, I got exposed to what I personally think is some of the best stuff that entertainment ever had to offer us. The music, the movies, the television shows, everything was just fantastic. Flash forward to about 2002, that was when I discovered a lot more about how to use Amazon.com and actually buy my stuff through the internet. And one of the things that I really liked about Amazon was the fact that you had the ability to write reviews. You could write whatever you wanted in regards to what you thought about the product and even more so. So I didn't just talk about, yes, I like the product. I really went into things like, for a movie, for example, I would talk about certain actors, certain special effects. For music, I would talk about certain tracks on a CD, and etc. And this was very freeing to me because even though I had a lot of friends that were interested in talking about all these kinds of things, there was never really a way for me to express my overall feelings like an actual critic, so to speak, Like, I had my fanboy throughout me, but I also liked to talk about things that were not so great, and even debate a little bit. And while I did have that a little bit with some of my friends, it never really was on a grander scale, and I always felt that with Amazon putting my voice out there in a public space that I could really get more. In 2008, that was when I discovered what YouTube was, though I really didn't use it the way that people do use it today and how I use it today myself, For me, it was really just about a place to find movie trailers and other types of things like video game tips and music to listen to in a much more quicker and easier fashion. So in 2010, I started to actually realize that YouTube was not just about those things that I was looking at already. I came across a couple of young people that were actually talking about movies, like professional critics, and one of them that really struck a chord with me was a boy from Massachusetts named Will, and his channel was called Film Fanatic 57. He actually stopped making videos around the 2012, and it's kind of sad because I would have loved to have seen what he would have evolved into if he was still making videos today. But ironically, the one review that I kept looking at through his channel and through others was Toy Story 3, because it was 2010 and Toy Story 3 was the it movie of the summer. And just hearing the way that his words were spoken, the fact that he really went into everything, from the producers to the director to the actors, the visual effects, everything just seemed so incredible, and these were things that I felt that I could express as well. It was just a matter of me trying to figure out what I wanted to do and where I actually was comfortable, because I came from a generation where the internet was still relatively new and I didn't always have it in my life, and there were all these precautions, whether it was talking to people online or buying things online. The internet was still not an entirely safe place, but for some strange reason, YouTube made me feel that it was a safe place and that you really could be yourself. Though I didn't use my name, of course I used the alias, the Lawn Gnome, which, in case you didn't know, was a name that was given to me jokingly in 2002 when a couple of my friends and I were making a stupid little student film, and the girls in the group thought that I was too cute to be a gremlin because I was the shortest person in the group. They said he looks more like a lawn gnome because the guys in the group were calling me a gremlin, and that's basically how the name stuck. So I had also my very first smartphone in the beginning of 2011, and at that very same moment, my parents actually gave me a flip cam for the holidays. I actually told them that I wanted to make a YouTube channel, so they knew that I was going to be a content creator right off the bat. Told them that I wouldn't use my real name, that even though I was in my late 20s, that I was still going to be as safe as I possibly could, and they said, what's the worst that could happen? You're just having a little bit of fun, because at that moment, I was still single, I was not really in a job that I was very satisfied with, and I had a lot of free time due to my flexible schedule. And I was always going to go see movies and always listening to new music and watching new television shows, even though there wasn't too much to really enjoy at the time because we were still coming out of that rut with reality television. We already had shows like How I Met Your Mother and Modern Family and The Big Bang Theory, but we really had not got to the place where television is right now today, where the sitcom and the drama really is back at the top, and reality television, while it is favored by many, is still not as popular as it used to be. So I just said to myself, I'm gonna go for it. I turned on my smartphone, I used the video camera option, I put together my very first video, which is the pilot episode of Up From the Underground, where it's just me introducing myself and figuring out what I want to do. And the only other thing that I lacked was figuring out how to edit, because clearly I needed to edit my videos, because there were going to be a whole bunch of breaks and ums and stutters, so I knew that people on YouTube did that, so I said, how am I going to do this myself? So luckily, before I decided to make a YouTube channel, from 2008 to 2010, I actually did live in an apartment. That's where I discovered YouTube before I moved back into my parents', because in the real world, we had the Great Recession and things were not looking so great. So my friend and I actually, who were roommates and really best friends since the age of 4, and we moved back in with our parents, and he was working as a professional film editor. Told him that I wanted to make a YouTube channel and said, would you be willing to edit my videos for me? It's just a matter of just getting rid of the long spaces, the jumps, and the ums and the stutters, and just giving me something that's presentable for my channel, and you're more than welcome to upload, and I'll give you all the information. I mean, he was my best friend, and I trusted him wholeheartedly, and he said sure, and I even said to him that I'd be willing to pay him, which I did for a little while. And basically, in January of 2011, I made my first 3 videos. One was my pilot, one was my top anticipated films of 2011, and then my very first review, which was The Green Hornet, of all movies. It's kind of funny to think that that was the very first movie that I actually reviewed on my channel. And, you know, ever since then, you know, I'm sitting right here looking at 10 years back, and I never looked back. I just decided that this was something that I'm going to just keep trying to do, and hopefully people will watch. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.